Welcome. We've got about 3 minutes until 9 o'clock. So if you are at class early, good on you. You could take our Viparita Karani, our little nice way to establish your belly breathing. So we've done this a couple of variations already. You could try lying on your back and legs up the wall. Or if you're like me, I've got a couch here. You might put your legs up on a couch instead. And you could, last week I showed us how you could put something underneath your bottom. So you could definitely put something underneath your lumbar spine, so that your bottom hangs over the edge. Or we did the door jam last week as well. Today I'm going to put my feet together and knees apart and be in a butterfly position, so getting an inner thigh stretch. And if you happen to have any other props while we're waiting for 9 o'clock, if you had a couple of these little green balls, for example, you could put them straight away underneath your underneath the top of the shoulder blades here. Or if you had one of your blue balls, you could stretch out your thoracic spine. So just take a nice comfortable place to be for a couple of minutes. I'm going to roll my feet out, which is another thing you can do with your green balls, is just to put the soles of your feet on those green balls and push down. So we've got about 1 more minute. So come into your beautiful belly breathing. I can see we've got a couple of us here, so welcome. Find your Viparita Karani, your legs up the wall or legs over the couch position, and just establish your beautiful belly breathing. So I'll go back to the variation I was practicing. Here's Summer next to me. She's role modeling beautiful belly breathing, that's for sure. So I've got my feet together, legs apart, and rather than pushing my knees open, I'm flexing my feet and being really active through my feet, drawing my big toes towards my face, and that will help open up my hips a little bit more. And I'm thinking of pushing or directing my knees out into diagonal lines, just like we do in our clamshells. And actually, so I'm quite active here. I'm actively trying to turn my hips open like the clams, and but relaxed above the belly. So I'm going to put one hand on my lower belly, one hand on my heart, and just take a couple of minutes of beautiful belly breathing here. If you do have a little towel, pop it onto the back of the head, any other props to make you comfortable. And then we'll just establish, if we can, lengthening out our breath. So we have 5 counts to inhale and 5 counts to exhale. So when you're ready, you could join my rhythm or find your own rhythm. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, keep going, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another minute here on your own, anchoring yourself with your breath, and keep going. Morena Silla, I'll see you later. Morena Katie. Beautiful. And we'll try and keep this steady, even breath throughout the class. And it really is a barometer for how you're working. So if you are unable to keep your breath even, if your breath becomes ragged, or you'd like to hold your breath, then take yourself back a bit. Don't work quite so hard. Pilates is meant to be flowing and even and beautiful and controlled. And it really can't be those things if we're pushing ourselves a little bit too much. Roll to one side now. Morena, Kate. And coming up to your cat and cow position. And we're really focusing on this idea of opening up the chest. We're wanting to open up the chest to get that beautiful posture. So pull your hands back so that we're literally pulling our hands back so that our chest can come between the hands. What a surprise, the dog's just where I'd like to be. That's not always the way with pets. So we're going to pull our hand back so we get that little lift through the chest, that widening of the chest, before then lifting up a little bit more and taking it to our lumbar spine. Then exhaling, pushing things away, back through neutral, tucking the chin. Inhaling, pull your hands, feel that lift in the chest. Focus on that more than how much range you get in your lumbar spine or your neck. And 3 or 4 more of these. Maybe you can use your breath. Exhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Some of you move out the way. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4. And exhaling, 2, 3, 4. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, and exhaling. Great job. Okay, from there, let's go on to a little bit of stretching through our chest muscles at the front here. So whatever you've got, be creative. You all by now should have a little hand towel at the very least, but perhaps you have a band like this. And you are absolutely welcome to borrow one of mine. It's just those stretchy bands I bring to class, a sock even, anything that's got a little bit of give in it. So I'll just use the sock, seeing as I'm role modeling being creative. And we're going to, you could kneel, you could sit with crossed legs. We can even do this in a lunge in a minute. I'll just show you what it looks like first. We take the article behind our back and roll the shoulders back, and whatever distance. So if you haven't got as too much, if you're not too bendy, you might have quite a wide range, or you might narrow it depending on what feels comfortable for you. And if I go on the side, what we don't want to happen is as I bend the arms or as I stretch the arms back, that the ribs pop to get that lift. The more connection you have between your ribs and the hips, the shorter this distance is here, the more controlled it is, the more range you'll be able to actually get in your shoulders. So we're trying to relax these big chest muscles here. We do these against the door jamb sometimes. We've lots of variations. The little weights that we lift up, they're another variation, but this is a nice easy one for home today. So when you've got your article, just now pull your hands apart. So right away you've got some muscle engagement. Drop your ribs, squeeze the shoulder blades together, and can you bend your elbows and straighten your elbows so the elbows are away from your body. Close your ribs. Quite a good one to practice maybe after the shower, so you can actually see your ribs in a mirror or in a reflection of the shower as well. Let's do 4. Close those ribs. Let the movement happen in the shoulder blades and the chest. 2 and 1. So I'm pulling my sock or my strap apart. Let's now do the next variation. So you want to go to 10 to 15 of these, and if you're working at a desk, you could definitely do these as a great way to open up throughout the day, to add a little bit of movement to your day. So again, squeeze the shoulder blades together, drop the ribs, and we'll just glide the arms back any amount. And like everything, depending on the way your shoulders are formed, the other activities you do and have done in the past, injuries, compensations, dominance, all that stuff will depend on how much range, but really just make sure that your ribs are not flaring. That's a really common way to try and get more movement, and also that your neck isn't jutting. So tucking that chin, lengthening up to the crown, through to the top of the, sorry, lengthening the crown of the head up. Let's just do 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1. So like I said, 10 to 15 would be great. Add this to your repertoire. You've got your wall clocks. We take the hand back. You've got your pec stretches at the wall, 90 degree and above. You've got your lifting your hand up off your bottom, or just opening and shutting. Just building a wee repertoire of movements for you to help open up this part of our body. So now we are a little bit more open. Let's go onto our backs and see if we can take that same sense of openness, that width through the collarbones, down into the mat. So I'm just going to fold up my little towel again. Maybe you used it for your prop. So pop it underneath that crown of the head there, and then lying back nice and comfortably there. Take a few breaths here. Just find that lovely openness in the collarbones. Let the shoulders roll down the back, hands to your sides. Take a couple of pelvic tilts, just rolling pubic bone up. Feel that tuck and how your lower transverse abdominis comes on, back to neutral, and then roll the other way. So we've got a much bigger space underneath our lumbar spine, and back to neutral, that little tuck again. So that little tuck can also be described as bringing your tailbone up to your nose and away from us. Often I also say bring your hip bones up. That's the same idea. And the last little cue I often say is your buttocks down towards your feet. All of those things just mean that we're adding this micro, really micro tuck, and to establish some really good control down here in our lower transverse abdominis. So just get that established now. We've got that little bit of control here. We'd absolutely stay here and just come on with the belly breathing, or we'll come on to using getting our rib cage breathing. So grab another prop. It might be a block, it might be a ball. At the very least, it could be that sock again. And we're going to, if you have got a block, it's this shoulder distance apart. Palms facing each other. And big breath in and big breath out. And just feel, if you can, that the front of the ribs are drawing to the back of the ribs, that the ribs are closing. As you exhale, your side waists are coming up and your pelvic floors are coming up. As you exhale, your belly button's coming up and tucking under your ribs. Just establish your beautiful breathing here, and we'll add some movement. Big breath in, tuck the chin. As you exhale, glide the arms away. Push that block with your hands. Inhale to come back. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhale back. 3, 2, 1. See if you can really close your ribs this time. Resist wanting to open your ribs. Remember, you're keeping that connection between the bottom of the ribs and the hip bones. And depending on your shoulder range, you might have less or more movement than me. It's not really, it's all about your body and finding your safe range of movement. So when we go beyond our safe range, if I take my hands right back to the floor, that's not my safe range. I'll have to make a compensation, which for me will impact my lower back and lead to injury. For you, it might impact your neck or your shoulders. So just taking some time here, exploring your range. Remember, it's 9 o'clock on a Monday morning, so it's probably not our most flexible time of the week. So we're just on a lovely journey, making shapes with our body, observing our body with kindness, learning about our body, enjoying moving. No end goal at all. Exhaling again. 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Maybe you can keep your arms there. And we're going to add our single leg slide. So stretching. I'm going to move myself back again. I'm constantly surprised at how long these legs are. We're going to stretch everything away from us and then bring everything in. So I've got my right leg moving, both arms moving. Keeping that control again in the rib cage, sliding, single heel slides. Keep going on one side only for 3 and 2 and 1. Let's try that on the other side. Keep adding those arm lifts, getting that little feeling of opposition there and that lovely feeling of sliding. Beautiful. Let's do 5. Everything in. And 4. We slow the breath down. Maybe you can come back to those 5 count breaths. Notice that the back of the pelvis is nice and still and stable. You're not leaning off to one side. If you are, use the push of your heel, the gentle engagement of your lower buttocks, the pulling up of your tummy, muscles, pelvic floors, core, to help stabilize and find neutral. Beautiful work. Okay, with that in mind now, we want to progress, but if you'd like to stay there, absolutely stay there. Otherwise, we will go back to alternating. Alternating is a little bit harder, but not too hard. And by now, you probably could figure out you might have a dominant side. So just give that a little bit more mindfulness, that it's not dominating, and try and really send some messages to your weaker side to come on and even things up. Beautiful. Find that beautiful stretch. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's stay here. Can you hover whatever leg is extended? Mine's the right leg up off the mat. 3, 2, 1. Bring it back down and draw yourself in. Beautiful. Try that again. Extend the opposite leg. Close the ribs. Tuck the chin. Hover, hover, hover. 3, 2, 1. And bring everything back in. Nice job. So with the same rib connection, let's bring both legs up. Flex the feet. You could have your arms at your sides, but you've still got that beautiful open chest, or maybe arms up, maybe alternating arms, but we're keeping these ribs down. And when you're ready, we're taking one heel at a time, up and down, and the other up and down. Again, you could do single legs if you're a beginner, or you're building up strength, or you're wanting to take it a little bit slower, otherwise alternating. I'm using my heels because I'm really trying to get my back side and hamstrings to help a little bit more to even out that hip flexor dominance, but you could point your foot, and maybe your foot doesn't go all the way to the ground if you're haven't got the range. Maybe you just hover your foot and bring it back. That's absolutely fine. It's all about the pelvis staying nice and still here. So again, it's about finding your safe range. For the last few, you're welcome to take opposite leg, opposite arm, coming into our dead bugs. Again, slow it down if you can. Can you try that 5-second breathing? Check that your back of the pelvis is nice and even on the mat. You're not tipping from one side to another. That you've got a nice tiny space under your lower back. It's not getting bigger as you reach away. And use your breath, inhaling and exhaling, inhaling and exhaling. One more on each side. Beautiful control. Great job. Have a little tuck. If you do have a block or a ball, put it between your knees. We'll just do a few squeezes here. So again, I've got it this way, so it's hip distance apart, that the tallest way. Balls are quite good because they already are hip distance. Squeezing for about 5 seconds and relaxing. Squeezing and relaxing. Great job. Squeezing, kia ora kati, and relaxing. Squeezing and relaxing. Great job. Just a few more here. And relaxing, squeezing and relaxing. Let's lengthen our arms out. I've got my palms down and trying to again close the ribs, tuck the chin, and just take a few breaths here. Reaching the arms away, and this is that external rotation. So if I can, I'm going to try and bring my triceps up a little bit to broaden through my collarbones and to lift that chest. Can you add your squeeze here as you do this? Lengthen those arms out, squeeze a couple more times. Beautiful. Big breath in and onto your tiptoes, glide both knees and feet up. So we're at a 90-90 kind of position. I've got my block between my shins and knees. We're going to take some little oblique challenges here. Draw those legs away, drop the heels here at 90. It's pretty good having a screen that doesn't lie. And we're going to use our breath to inhale, take those legs away from me for 5, and really check that you've got both shoulders on the mat, so really active through your chest. 2 and 1, exhale back. And inhale away for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Inhale back. And we'll do that again. Exhale away. Check both shoulders are on the mat. Be really active through your torso. Feel free to look away from your knee direction to get a full twist, or look straight ahead. And back. Inhaling to the left. 3, 2, 1, and back. We'll just keep going, drawing away. Now think about what we know from our oblique work. Can you draw or slide your side waist much longer? So get this hip to move down away from you, lengthen through your side waist a little bit more. It'll be harder on your weaker side. And back. And then hovering the knees on this side. Again, lengthen through your side waist. Drop the hip as much as you can. And we'll just do one more on each side, unless I change my mind, of course. Glide, glide, glide. Both shoulders on the mat. Hover, hover, hover. Back we go. Just again finding your safe range. Your knees might be higher, they might be lower than mine. I'm just taking you through the exercise. And back. This time we're going to stay there and have a nice stretch. So legs all the way over to the right. You could keep the block. You could put the block between your knees. Yesterday, on Saturday with Ben, I was helping to draw this top hip away again from the waist. Whatever feels nice to relax here. And if you want a little bit more, if you'd like a bit more stretch, especially through your glutes, you could cross your legs. So the bottom leg crosses over the top leg. And if you'd like to stretch your hip flexor a little bit more, kick the back leg away from you and pop the underneath leg on top of that top thigh. So apply a little bit of pressure to get some more stretch through your quad there. So just depending on where you find you have your tightness, you can adapt this stretch. Cool. And again, back to neutral. Maybe windscreen wiper those legs a couple of times. Big breath in, knees up, and then take them over to one side again. And again, you absolutely could put a block underneath your knees or between your knees to support yourself here, especially if you're not able to get both shoulders on the mat. We really want both shoulders on the mat. Draw this hip away from us again. Find that lovely feeling of length here all through the side body, and we can breathe into these little intercostal muscles between the ribs. Get a little bit of space in this thoracic spine. And again, if you want to make this a bit more of a stretch, you could cross your legs, so underneath leg crosses on top, or top leg under, sorry, top leg over, that's what I meant, or turn this into a hamstring stretch. Top leg just comes behind a little bit, bottom leg, put the foot on top of the, right in the middle of the quad if possible, and then inch away till you get a stretch through the front there of the thigh. Or none of those things. Stay just where you are and enjoy your breath. Okay, let's go on to some glute work. So you could absolutely keep your little, so take your little towel away because we're going to be rolling up into glute bridges. Bring your heels close to your bottom. And again, just take a few breaths here to maybe roll the shoulders back, close the ribs, whatever movements with your neck feels good, and then arms at your side. Great job. We're going to gently draw the bottom of the bottom or the outside of the hips in and roll up. So pants off the mat, t-shirt off the mat. You might just get to the point where you have got your space for your fist underneath your bottom. You could definitely put a block or a ball between your knees and then rolling back down. Great job. Rolling up and rolling down. And if you haven't quite got the flexibility to do rolling, you could pop straight up and roll down instead if you wanted to. Keep going a few more times, rolling up or popping up and rolling down and rolling up and rolling down. Beautiful. Now we want to keep challenging ourselves. So one way we can challenge ourselves is to add those little challenges. So we could absolutely come up now to a double leg position and start heel tapping, one heel at a time. This would be a beginner's place to be. Toe tapping, also a great option one, keeping hips nice and still. Option two, push through your left heel, extend the right, and keep going on that one side. Keep extending the right, drawing your left hip in. We can make it harder by bending our elbows, by reaching our arms up into the air. And if you had any little weights, you could maybe take some tricep dips. Let's do 4, 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Onto the tippy toes, arms up, roll down, have a lovely big stretch. Stretch those arms away, stretch your legs away. Beautiful. Let's try that on the other side. So rolling up again, drawing the outside of the hips in, pelvic floors up, and again you might be heel tapping, toe tapping, or maybe you're taking one leg out, just knee on knee, they're completely stacked, and toe down. You always have your hands on the sides of your hips, push in to give yourself a little bit of stability and to check that you're not hitching or wobbling in any way. But if you know we're nice and strong, especially after our weeks of oblique work, maybe elbows, maybe arms up, maybe little tricep dips again with your hands or a small hand weight. And let's do 4, 3, 2, and last one. Great, onto your tippy toes, arms up, have a beautiful big stretch, feel yourself being pulled all the way through your fingertips and all the way through your tailbone. Beautiful. Let's take ourselves to our wall again, or maybe to our couch, and take some glute bridges this time. So I've got my handy couch here, but a wall is great as well. We've done these a few times, so if you know that this is getting quite easy for you, you know your hammies are coming on really well, then begin to take your legs down. So maybe a block, maybe the ground. So you can go straight to any of those places as you want to. I'm going to start up here because that's what suits me today. So we really want to have this idea that we're pulling our heels in. And you can feel right away, if I take that action of pulling my heels in, my hamstrings come on. So again, it's an isometric action. You can't see me do it, but I can feel it. When I put my hands underneath the belly of the muscle here in the middle of the back of my thighs, if I pull my heels back, bing, on come my hamstrings. So we're trying to keep that action, that pulling back with the heel action, as we're now adding some movement. And it looks very similar to where we've just been. It is, it's a bridge, but it's a hamstring bridge this time. So wherever you are, and if you're beginning to turn on these hamstrings, if it's something new for your body, then keep your hands there for the first few until you know that you are really using them. And then once you can feel, oh, yep, no, they're staying on the way up. And yep, they're staying on the way up. Now, are they staying on the way down? Yes, they are. So they're staying on the way up because I'm pulling my heels back. And I'm pulling my heels back on the way down. So yep, they're staying on the way down too. So feel how active those feet are. Those feet are working pretty hard. Your arches will be lifting. See if you can direct your weight towards your big toe. Don't let your heels roll out or towards your little toe side of your feet. By actioning through the big toe where inner thighs are on and inner hamstrings are on. So let's take another 4, wherever you are, and 3. Think about the big toe side of the foot being active. Keep that pulling action. Last one. Feeling that lovely little tuck of the tailbone that we talked about right at the beginning of the class. Great job. You might like to take a happy baby. Dive your hands between your legs. Hold on to the outside of the heels or outside of the shins. Roll from one side to the other. And if this isn't very nice for you, take any other kind of release. Okay, we'll do a second set. So you could stay exactly where you are, or take a little challenge and bring your heels down. So I'm going to take my legs onto the heels onto a block now. Check that I really have got my heels on the block and my legs are hip distance apart. So again, establish that you've got those hammies on, rolling up. And if you're a hamstring dominant person and this isn't something which you think is best for you, you could be taking another set of glute bridges instead. Because I know I definitely have some girls out there who are hamstring dominant. We've been working for ages and actually getting their glutes on. Great to see you, Susie. Oh, it's tough. It is tough, but I can't hear you squeaking here, so I can just keep on toughing it out. Okay, keep going another few more. 3, 2, and 1. Great job. Let's roll on to our tummies now, and we'll take again some opening through the chest and that idea of pulling the chest forward. So you might have a couple of blocks you could put down on each side of you. Otherwise, don't worry, just use your hands on the mat. So if you have got the blocks, you could draw them down where we normally have them for cobra, so down by our ribs, and use that to help pull your hands back, pull the blocks back to lift your chest. That's the feeling we're going for in our cobra. And then head will not come all the way down. So again, if you've got some blocks, you're literally pulling the blocks back, just like we've just done with our heels. We've been doing exactly the same movement. Pull those blocks back to get that lift in the chest. Holding, squeezing elbows in, tucking chin, looking down at the mat. 3, 2, 1. Maybe take the blocks out to the side, turn your head to one side and relax completely. Second set, we'll do what we normally do in class. We flex those feet and we lift the knees up off the mat. Again, can you take that micro tuck of the tailbone, pubic bone, up towards your face, or buttocks down towards your heels, whatever feels good for you there. And if the blocks are really helping you, keep using the blocks. If you understand what I mean, pull your hands back to lift your chest up. Keep tucking the tailbone, lift the belly button, look down to the mat. 3, 2, 1, and turn your head, kia toe. Relax completely. We will do that one more time. So again, you could use the block or not use the blocks. Hands to our sides, heels up and thighs lifted, belly button lifted, micro bend, so buttocks down, draw the hands back, lift the chest. Beautiful. Can you just turn the toes so the legs are hovering now, and you could begin your swimming legs. Absolutely add your arms, even arms behind you, or bring your arms overhead. And we're here for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Turn your head. Relax completely. It just never gets any easier. Okay, nice work. We will go on to our single leg kick. So again, it's that same idea. Bring your hands in front of you, pull them back, and then roll yourself up by pushing them away from you. Roll the shoulders back. We're thinking of this lifted chest again. It's a real theme. Tuck the tailbone. Absolutely put a little towel underneath your lumbar spine. If you feel like this is crunching, open your legs wide if that feels crunchy as well. Otherwise, lift up your thighs, lift up your pelvic floor, lift up your belly button, lift up the crown of the head, and if it helps, you can even squeeze a block between your hands, just like we have been doing in plank sometimes. Let's flex our right foot. Flex, flex, point it away. Left, flex, flex, point it away. Flex, flex, point it away. We might do a 3-beat count actually. So on the right, 3, 2, 1, extend. 3, 2, 1, extend. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. Great job. Keep rolling your shoulders down the back. Lift your belly button one more time. Close your ribs one more time. Tuck your chin one more time. And we are all finished. Great job extending there. Let's have a little think about our reverse plank, and that's this one here. So it's that lifted chest again we're going for. We've done this a few times. If you'd like to, pop a block or ball between your knees or between your hands behind you, again, shoulder distance apart. Just anything to help you get a little bit more of bringing things to the midline. So otherwise, just have that idea. We're bringing everything into the midline so that we can get more lift off. I'll just move this mat back a bit and then I can use it. now that the dog has left the room. Okay, so think of where we started with that little strap stretch. Close the ribs and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Close the ribs so you get this maximum lift there. Fingers point forward and big breath in. Squeeze your glutes, push and drive through your heels. Pull your heels back to lift and engage those hamstrings. 3, 2, 1, and glide back down. We're going to do these a couple more times, so you might stick with the bent legs. Otherwise, come with me and let's do our right leg down this time, knowing we ultimately want to have the toe on the mat, and we still are pulling that leg back to get those hamstrings on, to get the back line on so our bottom can lift higher. Ultimately, and I'm not there yet, we want to look like we are an ironing board, or we've got that beautiful alignment that we have in everything. So push your both heels into the mat, big breath in, close your ribs, drive, drive, drive. Can you push your toe onto the mat, pull heels back, 3, 2, 1, glide down. Maybe have a little swish of the legs or a little breath, and then set yourself up on the other side. Squeeze shoulder blades together, drop ribs, push through both heels. Once you're up, toe on the mat, pull both heels back, holding for 3, 2, 1, and glide back down. We're almost there. Last one is going to be both legs, or you could do your last one with bent legs. Both heels down, squeeze heels together, point toes or flex toes to get up and then point them. So let's again, big breath in, squeeze the glutes, coming up, pull the heels back, pull the heels back, pull the heels back, tuck the chin, lift the chest, pull the heels back, 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Feel so open now. Let's come onto our side. And we'll take that variation that we did on Friday when we had a 90-degree angle on the bottom leg. Might be hard to see there. And whatever feels good for you underneath your head here. So towel, blanket, cushion, your bicep, your hand behind your head, whatever feels good. The main thing is we want to have this lovely long waist here and the little space underneath us. So what's nice about having the leg in front of us is we can really focus on what the top leg's doing without wobbling so much. So it means we can do some of these more challenging poses and build up the strength and the good form before we challenge, add those other challenges of balance. So we're going to bring the top leg up to hip height and then up a little bit higher. Remember, we're not crunching up. This hip stays long and away from us. So even put your hand there so you can check that that's happening for the first few. So up and up, back to hip height. 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 Good. Keep going. Haere tonu. We're not doing very many, so we'll really work the ones we're doing. Sometimes we do a whole side series that has many components. Great job. 3 more. 2. And 1. If by now you're not feeling the outside of the glute working, maybe experiment with turning your internally rotating your whole leg, so turning it all in a little bit, or turning your foot in a little bit. Experiment with rolling your hip forward a little bit. Let's go on to bicycles. Knee forward, hip height if possible, extend away, lengthen back, and tuck the knee in. Lengthen and exhale. Inhale and exhale. I like to flex my foot so I get that beautiful extension. Flex the foot so I get the glute to come and help out. Let's change direction. Heel back and extend the leg forward. Heel back, foot back, extend the leg forward. Maybe point behind and flex up. Really, as long as you do a combination of flexing and pointing. Beautiful. Keep your leg forward and then back. And like we did last week, you can let your hip roll forward so you can really maximize your length here. But again, we're not scrunching up here into the waist. The waist is long. We're just moving the top hip forward a tiny bit and then back and forward, getting a lovely stretch. It's a very, very small amount of movement here. One more. Enjoy this beautiful stretch through the quad, the front of the hip flexor. Last one, because I think I can hear Susie all the way over the hill there. Great. And let's just take ourselves to the other side. You might like to do a nice little roll like a ball in between. And then let yourself flip to the other side. Great job. So, set yourself up again. Bottom leg at a 90-degree angle. Top leg, draw this thigh away from us. Great job. We're coming up and up. Hip height and up. And again, if you're not feeling pretty quickly on this side, because it was helping on the other side, so I'm already feeling it working. If you're not feeling it pretty sharpish, try internally rotating like I'm just demonstrating, even if it's just the foot. Roll the top hip forward. So it's just little compensations again, or just figuring out what this should feel like. This should feel quite hard. It is hard work. And look, I'm going all the way down when I shouldn't be going all the way down. Let's do 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Onto bicycles. Knee at hip height, extend, drive it away. Great job. And again, experimenting with flexing the foot, pointing the foot. I quite like to flex it away. Really feel my glute coming on so much more when I do that. Just like we're walking, we're striking the ground with our heel, and that heel strike stimulates and sends kinetic messages up our body to turn on the glutes, turn on the pelvic floors, all those good stabilizing muscles. Let's change direction. Point behind, flexing up, point behind, keeping this hip as still as possible. 2 more. Almost there. Haere tonu. Last one. Okay. Keeping it forward, back, little stretch, forward, and again, finding your safe range here. Our ranges are all very different. Our strengths and our biases are all very different. Listen to your body. Feels good. No sharp shooting pains, no pins and needles. Wanting an exercise to end isn't the same. Last one. Woohoo! Okay, so we'll come up onto our side here now, and I've got my 90-degree angle, and I've got my elbow underneath my shoulder. I'm pulling, really actively pulling my hand back to support, and it's not as an active hand, it's pulling back and it's pulling down towards me, down towards my knee. So it's really actively stabilizing my shoulder blade. So again, if this isn't something that's interesting for you, or something you'd like to do on this shoulder, go back to mermaid, or extend your legs and double leg lifts. Those would also get your obliques. Otherwise, we're going to come up, open our knee, and close our knee. So we can have our top hand stacking if you want to, or hand on your hip, or hand on your side like we're used to doing. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great job. Keep going if you're doing another variation, because we're going to keep going here. We're going to come up now and into that mermaid position. This time the hand is underneath us. If that's not what you want to do, you could also do this in a side elbow bend. Slide your legs away from you, and again we could have Egyptian legs. That's more supportive than stacked legs. So finding your best place to come up, find yourself up, hand on your side, and again find your balance. We're here for 30 seconds, and to keep the 30 seconds going, you could very gently come down to a side bend and then come back up. So both feet are really active. They're squeezing. We're flexing our feet. We're shutting our ribs. We've got 10 seconds to go. Keeping up our beautiful oblique work. Last time. Come down. Beautiful. We can take a couple of mermaids in between here. And you could stay with the mermaid if you want to. Let's add a little bit of rotation to our mermaid. Coming over, rotating, and then we'll come this way. Mermaid, add a rotation, holding onto your shin perhaps. Okay, so on the other side, so again, you've got other options if you'd like to take them, extending both legs, lifting them up, or mermaids. Otherwise, we've got both knees here. You could also do clams in this position and not do the weight bearing. You could just stay here and do your clams. Or let's lift the hips up. Find this top hip forward a little bit. Maybe stack both hands to give yourself a little bit more support. But once you've got the strength, pushing this bottom hip up to the top hip, closing the ribs, all the same stuff, that same good stuff we've been doing the whole time. And let's do 3, 2, 1. Beautiful. Again, up to that mermaid position, so we can go into either a elbow plank or a full plank. Slide your legs away from you, either Egyptian legs or fully stacked. Sliding up, and again it's 30 seconds. And just to make things more interesting and to challenge ourselves, because we're constantly trying to get stronger, you could add that little lift. Pulling this hand back in, there's no movement in the shoulder at all. The only movement is a very tiny bend in our waist. You're using these side waists. Oh, almost there. This is hard work. Coming down. Karawi tō mahi. Beautiful work, everyone. I'm so proud of us. We have definitely got stronger over this time. Just letting everything go now with some lovely extension. You know the drill. If you've got a weaker side, chances are it's shorter. Needs a little bit of support to bring the ground up. Let's add that little bit of rotation. Really nice for our posture, adding more space in that thoracic spine again. And bringing ourselves the other way, holding onto the shin perhaps, lifting up and over, taking that rotation. There's no right or wrong, just whatever movement feels good for you at this point. Bringing our heart rate back down. Okay. Right. Well, we're almost there, but not quite. I might have to bring the plank at the beginning of the class sometimes as well. But because we use the whole body, it's all warmed up now. We've got it all. We've used the front, the back, the sides of our body, and the plank uses all of that. It does make sense that we do it at the end of the class, even though it is the point where you're thinking, oh, really? One more thing. So for our plank, I really want us to think about that chest being open again, that little tiny lift. So if you possibly have a little bit of extra energy in you, we'll be drawing our hands back a little bit and we'll be lifting our heart. That will just get those lower belly muscles on even more. Sometimes we can just have too much, we can have a little bit too much weight in these, in our upper back. And we really want to get the weight distributed into our thighs, our belly as well. So, as always, there are lots of variations here. You could take a few serratus push-ups to begin with, and that might be a great place to stay. You might like to take a forearm plank for you instead of a long arm one. So let's go a forearm plank. So walk one leg out, then the other. Hold one fist with the other hand. Let's come forwards and backwards and pull those heels back. Lift your thighs and lift your belly. Can you bring your heart forward? So pull your elbows back so you're flattening your thoracic spine a little bit. Tuck that tailbone with your micro tuck. Beautiful. And we're holding here, or maybe you could try a serratus push-up. We've got 10 seconds to go. And knees to the ground. Push yourself back. Maybe take your child's pose. If you'd like to add some wrist love, you could give your wrist a little bit of love. Even hands behind the back of the head in prayer. So we're really getting a great repertoire of weight-bearing planks into our practice. Side planks, reverse planks, elbow planks, and then we have our full arm planks. So before we start our full arm planks, let's just take some little star bursts. If you do get sore wrists or you feel like you're weak in your hands or your arms, just getting a little bit of stimulation here into this area. So we'll just keep star bursting, a few more, catching our breath. Once it feels sore in your forearms, take another 10. So I'm getting sore now, and interestingly, I'm left-handed. It's my right side that's feeling sore, so I guess it's got a bit less muscle and it doesn't get used quite as much. That makes sense that it's sore. So now I'm sore. I'm going to do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great. Maybe give your hands a shake. Any other little wrist things you like to do, circles. And again, I've over the years been teaching us as I learn them and as I figure them out in my own body, teaching us other little wrist loves. Let's go on to our plank, and we all can plank. And we're going to try and do a minute. And again, you are all capable of doing a minute. I've seen it all. I've seen you all do it. So into the hands and knees, draw one leg out, flex that foot, lift the thigh, and get that tuck of the tailbone right away, that micro tuck. Pull hands together, and then can you lift your heart forward a little bit? Great job. And we're holding here, pulling hands together, pushing through forefinger and thumb, pulling up thighs, pulling up tailbone towards our face, and then relaxing what we don't need to use here. Another 30 seconds, so keep going. If you want to add a little challenge, we can push forwards and backwards, or we can extend one leg, hover, extend the other leg, hover, one more on each side, and we'll be done. Find that beautiful length through the crown of the head. Bring your bottom up, knees down, and push yourself back into your child's pose again. From your child's pose, maybe hands behind the back of the head in that prayer position if that feels good for you. And we'll just finish with a wee spine twist and back to the Parita Karani where we began. So the spine twist, again, we've gone through a few of them. Cross legs, knees stacked, whatever feels good for you. Blocks, balls. Just take the knees to one side. Look over your opposite shoulder and enjoy a lovely stretch here. Maybe arms in cactus. Maybe arms in our aeroplanes with the palms down. Big breath in and then bring your legs over the other way. Again, just draw the hip down, finding some beautiful space and length. And you've got about 2 minutes. So finding your wall, your couch, maybe try this variation, knees out, feet together, and this will open up our inner thighs. So it's always nice to give our thighs a stretch in all the different directions. And again, maybe arms out, maybe arms in cactus. If you do have those green spiky balls, this is a great opportunity to put them underneath your trapezius muscles, which can get really tight. So shut your eyes. I'll watch the clock. You can observe your breath. Keep the feet flexed if you're in Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. And maybe one hand on your heart, maybe one hand on your belly. Slowing your breath down, finding that rhythm of inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5, and exhaling, 2, 3, 4, 5. For the next minute, just take your own rhythm, your own breath. Stay committed to staying in your body, in your breath. And then when you're ready, bring your knees into your chest, roll to one side, use your strong arms to help you come back up to a comfortable seated position. And as we like to do, we'll just finish the class with our hands at heart center. The the base of the palms pushed together, and they're pushing into our sternum, this breastbone, which gives us that lift sensation again. So we get to lift one more time. So push your chest into your hands, push your hands into your chest, feel that lift one more time. Tihei Mori Ora, Namaste. Kia pai tō wiki whānau. Have a great week, and ka kite anō a rā mere. I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Or if you like to come and join Jim and I for yoga tomorrow night at 7:30, that would be great to see you then. Remember that you've got a sock or a strap, anything like that, and take those little exercises we started with throughout your week, and see if that helps open up your chest and get a little bit of spaciousness through here so that our trap muscles can turn off. Thanks so much for your support, and remember that if you're going to be a regular, I can absolutely lend you any props to help your home practice. So just email me, let me know. Okay, mā te wā whānau. Thank you so much.